So today we're going to do my pick'ems, but before we just dive into that, I first want to just say that Ascend are giving away two $50 voucher cards for Valorant, and so I wanted to tell you how you can win them. One is going to be done in a quiz on the second day of the tournament before the game start, 30 minutes before the first game starts on Tuesday. I will be doing a little quiz, and whoever wins that quiz will be, getting the gift card, and the second one will be done by the pick'ems here on the VLR page, where if you sign up to VLR, you can then do a pick'em for this tournament. And if you join my group, you can see here you come down to group after doing the pick'em, and you can join using this code. I'll leave a link in the description, and whoever comes at the top of my group, all these people are already in it, whoever comes top of that group will win the $50 gift card. So come and join the group if you want a chance to win, and you'll back yourself as knowing what's going to happen. And now let's dive into the picks. First game is Koi NRG. Here are the teams, and ultimately, Koi are a new team. It's kind of interesting because Cole Dementer and Baba used to be, obviously, the IGL and coach of Guild, who have beaten Optic and did beat them back at Copenhagen. So the kind of structure of the two teams, one has already beaten the other. The thing is, though, Koi are a very new team, right? We've got Cole Dementer, Trex, and Baba, who are kind of together. But then you've got Shados, Wolfen, and Starkso, who are all having to integrate into that system. For NRG, though, I think that they have, a very talented team. They've kind of been underrated a bit, I think, because they obviously, the Optic Core lost Ye. But they brought in Artis, and I don't really understand. Like, Artis is also like a top 10 player in the world. So it's not like we've replaced Ye with some scrub. That I know a lot of people are putting this as a potential upset, and I do think Koi are a very talented team. But ultimately, for my pick'em, the first game, I am going to pick NRG. Okay, Detonation versus Giants. Detonation's team, I think, they don't have a ton of international LAN experience. Giants who, Nuki is a very good player, Hoodie's a very good player, Cloud's a very good player. And Ryan Fatinho, maybe a bit more unknown, but, have done stuff in this game, and have shown flashes, I think. So yeah, we will go Giants and we'll get to NRG. Okay, Genji versus Loud. I don't need to spend too much time on this one either, I don't think, because I do think that, again, this is going to be a common theme. If you've got a stuck core together and you've already been in a team and you're with the same org and all that stuff, I'm just going to favor that team a lot of the time, particularly if they are the reigning world champions playing at home. Loud, I think. This would be a major shock of Genji, and I don't think Genji's players are that bad, but, this would be a major shock. Now on to FPX versus Karmine. I can only envisage one way that this game is going to go. FPX are going to have some kind of interesting things going on, and they're going to be weird, and it's going to be a bit wacky and whatnot, but Scream is going to be the best player in the server, and Scream is going to go insane. I think that Scream will be the difference, and he will lead Karmine to victory. BBL versus DRX. Again, probably not one that we need to spend too much time on. DRX obviously have got the thing where maybe they'll play Foxy 9, maybe they'll play Zest. I do think that ultimately, they have the more experience, their accord staying together. It's all there for them, DRX, really. It would be a shock if they lost to BBL, a massive shock. And so I do have DRX winning this game. Cloud9 versus Paper Rex. And this one I think is going to be interesting, but again, I'm going to stick with this kind of theme, particularly early on in the rounds, that if you have a solid core that has more LAN experience than your opponent, that you are more likely to win. And I think what's happened to Paper Rex happened to Loud before Champs as well, right? When Loud went out at Copenhagen, everyone's like, oh yeah, Loud, they're a decent team, but they're probably not going to do too well, right? Yeah, they aren't that good. No one's rating like Les and Aspas in their top 10. Oh, Loud won a tournament? Oh yeah, Aspas is the best player in the world. Did I mention that? Oops, sorry. Oh yeah, I just forgot before Champs that he actually was the best player. Like, this is happening to Paper Rex now, right? Where after Copenhagen, it's like, oh, who's the best players in the world? Oh, Jing and Forsaken, they're some of the best players in the world. Now it's like, oh, Jing, Forsaken, yeah, they're good. But, not that good, right? The exact same thing has happened, and Loud won Champs. And so I'm going to go Paper Rex in this one over Cloud9. Heretics versus EG. Now, this is going to be an interesting one as well. This could be a very close game, I think. I really think that this is a bit of a toss-up, and I don't blame anyone for picking either team. I'm just going to go EG. I kind of like the EG 10-man stuff. I know a lot of people just don't understand it. I get that. To me, as someone who's like done a degree in coaching, it just makes like so much sense having a 10-man roster. Like, it just makes everything so much easier. I'm just going to pick EG because I kind of like the idea. Made in Brazil versus Talon. Again, a very interesting game. Talon do have perhaps, you know, the more experienced core there with the Xerxia core and whatnot. This is another one where I'm going to go for the home Brazilian team, and think that Brazilian teams might, you know, do decent. And we have Team Liquid versus Team Secret. And this, again, would just be too big of a shock. This would be a completely monumental upset. And I can't see it happening. I think Liquid, they've got the more experienced team. They got the better team. They'll go through. And honestly, I think the same is true for Navi as well. You know, I just can't see how Navi... Like, if either of these teams lost, it would be a pretty major shock. And I'm sure most of us would probably agree with that. Zeta versus Leviathan. Now, this is one I know a lot of people were just going, Leviathan. This is one I actually did think about for quite some time. That Zeta, I think, could surprise. I think Leviathan played a very kind of, you know, set way. It kind of like, let's call it a normal way. In fact, they almost like, you know, create metas on maps. And as I said, I'm not sure that's a massive benefit in this kind of tournament to play somewhat normally. But I do have a lot of faith in Ono. Right, when we're talking about coaches that overachieved with their rosters, Ono probably is at the top of the list. And so I'm just going to trust Ono and pick Leviathan. Team Vitality versus GE. We haven't had any surprises so far. Everything's just playing out completely normally. But that's not going to be the way it pans out. Right, there is going to be some pretty big surprises. Because that's just the way it is. Remember when Morocco got to the semifinals of the World Cup? I remember, right? Remember when Croatia, the World Cup before that, got to the final? These are other single elimination tournaments, and that's what happens. And so, ultimately, though, this is not where the surprise comes, because Team Vitality, I think, are a team that I'm very high on, and I think that they will just have enough to be able to beat GE. But versus Rex. Honestly, just a toss-up, but I think in the kind of craziness of it all, I'm going to go Rex, because I think that they're going to play that APAC weird stuff that I'm not sure Foot will be ready for. They also have a tiny bit more LAN experience than Foot that I think could help Rex as well. And so in a big stage here, I am going to go Rex. And now we come to 100 Thieves versus CDG. I think 100 Thieves are just too structured. I think that they're just too, like, of all the teams, they're kind of just that team that I think is just going to be completely solid. And it's kind of the worst draw for EDG, I think, 100 Thieves. But unfortunately, that's the draw they got, so I'm going for 100 Thieves. Sentinels versus Fnatic. Fnatic, obviously, you look at their team on paper and you think very, very good. They've still got most of their core there, same coach, you know, they've added 2 players. But for Sentinels, obviously, you know, you're mixing a lot of different stuff. But I am going to go for Fnatic in this one. I just think that, again, they've just got more stability and, you know, it's more all there, whereas Sentinels, I think, have to do a bit more work. And so I will go Fnatic. And then T1 versus Furia. Now, T1 played in the Ludwig Tarek thing and didn't look great. But again, I'm going to stick with kind of my ideas here that Furia, last time I saw them at Champs, I actually didn't think were that bad. They actually came very close to beating Fnatic. So I don't think Furia are any, you know, bad team or whatever, and they don't know what they're doing. And I think with the home crowd, I am going to go Furia. So far, it's been pretty chalk, and that's probably not going to be the case. And I did have some big surprises lined in store. And it starts with NRG versus Giants. Nookie is one of the players in the world that I have seen in games where he just wins the game. And so my first kind of surprise in this tournament is going to come here, where Giants knock off NRG. I know it's a surprise. I know I can hear all of you, and I can hear FNS's voice being like, bro, what are you talking about, bro? We're the best team in the world, bro. All of that stuff, I can hear the voice. In these single elimination tournaments, this is the kind of stuff that happens. Loud Carmine, right? The surprises could continue, right? Maybe Scream is another one of those players who can just completely take over a game. And maybe again, no, not this one. Loud are going to win this one. But DRX Paper Rex. I'm almost a bit sad, really, that DRX kind of announced, oh, we might be playing with Foxy, and I think a lot more people like had doubts all of a sudden about DRX, because I was locked in. I'm picking Paper Rex in this game, no matter who they play. It doesn't matter! Paper Rex are going to beat DRX. I know they never beat DRX. But they are going to win this game. I just trust the Paper Rex will have enough weird, wacky stuff that there is no way that you can prepare for Paper Rex in this short space of a time. I'm going Paper Rex. And now we come to EG versus Made in Brazil. Now, initially, I did pick Made in Brazil yesterday, but after the stream, I gave it some more thought, and ultimately, my heart has changed, where I am instead going for EG, because, well, as you'll see in some of the other pick'ems, I think that EG will be kind of, you know, one of the NA teams that gets the furthest, and that'll leave people confused. I can already kind of see that storyline playing out, and so I'm going for EG in this one instead. Team Liquid versus Na'Vi. This will be a very close game, and I really went back and forth on this game. I'm sure a lot of people have gone back and forth on this game, but anytime I do that, I have visions, right? The visions come to me, and the vision that came to me here was Soigetsu. It was Soigetsu doing his classic wave. And so Na'Vi are going to win this game. Leviathan versus Team Vitality. I think that Leviathan will just be a bit further ahead in kind of their development and where they see themselves as a team, and having kind of that structure probably already in place. So I'm going to go Leviathan over Vitality, although I think it could be close. Then we get to 100 Thieves versus Rex. And again, I think 100 Thieves, I know that's not a shocking pick. I'd love to pick Rex because it would be crazy if it happened, but I'm going to go 100 Thieves. Fnatic versus Furia. For Fnatic versus Furia, this is where my big shock comes in. This is where the Brazilian teams, the home favorite, go further than anyone thinks and upsets Fnatic and goes on to play against 100-100T Thieves. I believe in Brazilian supremacy. There's going to be a big shock. Morocco, World Cup, Furia, lock-in. Write it down. And then we get Giants versus Loud. I'm believing in kind of that home crowd, that home environment buff. And so Loud versus Giants, I think that Loud would be the more talented team here. I think that they have that home support, and that ultimately they'd be the ones going through. And obviously, because I changed, we now have Paper Rex versus EG here, and I would have Paper Rex winning that game. Paper Rex tend to do well against teams that, you know, have never played them before, and I don't think anyone from EG has ever played Paper Rex. And so good luck with, you know, trying to figure out all of the stuff that they're throwing at you that you've never seen before, and so I will be going for Paper Rex to get through. Na'Vi versus Leviathan. Again, there's gonna be surprises. And this is where one of the surprises comes in. I can already see. Oh no, I can already see him. Remember this? Remember Stacks? Remember Stacks doing all this? You know who that was, you know, about? That was about Oh no, right? Why? Because he was celebrating. And he's going to be celebrating again. He's going to be celebrating when Leviathan beat Na'Vi and managed to get to the Final Four. 100 Thieves versus Furia. Now, I know obviously a lot of people in NA would just be saying, well, 100 Thieves, if Furia did upset Fnatic, would just, you know, roll through them, right? But no. This is Morocco, my friends. Morocco are here, and they live in the bodies of the Furia players, okay? If it can happen at the World Cup, it can happen at Lock-In, and Morocco, I guess, weren't a home team, but they were close enough, and Furia are a home team, and they're going to be the big surprise. And they're going to go and beat 100 Thieves as well in a massive, massive shock. And these are my Morocco. Furia, you are my team. And Loud versus Paper Rex. They would get a week to prepare at this point, these teams. These two from this side. They'd get a whole week off. And in that week off, I'm going to say that Paper Rex cook something up. They get in the lab. They get going crazy. And ultimately, it will be Paper Rex who manage to take out Loud in the semifinal. Big crowd upset. You know, the crowd's not happy with it. But Paper Rex managed to beat Loud by playing this crazy style. And then we'd have a semifinal of Leviathan and Furia. And although Furia have gone on this miraculous Zeta-esque, Morocco-esque run, ultimately a lot of these runs do fall short. And unfortunately, this is where it falls short for Furia as well. The crowd is going nuts in this one, by the way. The crowd is going absolutely crazy for Furia. But ultimately, it's Onur who comes out and shushes the crowd after Leviathan win against Furia in the semi-finals to make it to the final. Leviathan make it to the final against Paper Rex. And ultimately, Paper Rex, with their second time in a final, with that bit of more experience than Leviathan in these high pressure situations, they are the team that will win Lock in Sao Paulo, because they are the team that is going to play in a way with all this new stuff that no one can anti-strat in the time that they're in this tournament. In a best of one, they've got the core together. They can just practice on their ideas. They know how they want to play. They don't need any more structure. They've got that all sorted out. And they are the team that is going to win Lock in